Ole Miss gets a massive win over Oklahoma. We'll get to the box score in a second, but I think we should start the conversation like this. It's funny how sometimes in sports, a flaw or a weakness that you may have or something that you have done poorly before just keeps happening to you until you figure it out. You know, it's something that a week ago, Ole Miss had a double-digit lead, or excuse me, Ole Miss a week ago had a 2-score lead in Athens, and in the fourth quarter, Georgia executed, Georgia made plays, Georgia got stops, Ole Miss didn't. This week, they find themselves in the exact same position that they were in last week. It's amazing how similar the game flow was entering the fourth quarter. Ole Miss opens up a 2-score lead. Some self-inflicted things allow Oklahoma to get back into the game, including a very interesting decision to go for it on fourth down on your own 25-yard line. Now, the play call, if the snap was good, appears that he probably would have gotten it, but it doesn't matter. The snap is bad. You don't get it. And Oklahoma recaptures all of the momentum in the game. And you give up the lead. But what did Ole Miss do in the fourth quarter? They put a 0 up on the scoreboard defensively. They were the ones that got stops defensively. In Trinidad, last week in the fourth quarter, missed a bunch of throws. Especially over the middle to Daquan Wright. Threw it at his feet. This week, a very similar type throw. This time it was to Watkins over the middle, hits him in stride on the money, big play. And then on the near side of the field, or the far side of the field, beautifully thrown football over the top to Winston Watkins again for a huge gain that kind of, ended the game right there. So Ole Miss found themselves a week later in the exact same spot. On the road, environment's getting loud and intense, and you had a lead, and you gave that lead up, and what are you made of? Trinidad and the offense sputtered last week. They didn't this past Saturday. The defense gave up points on every single possession, and they put up a goose egg in the fourth quarter this week. So Ole Miss was much better when it mattered, and that is why, despite giving the momentum up, and to their credit, they built that lead, but they gave it right back. They executed, they performed, and they came out of there with a massive win. So credit to Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding and Trinidad Chambliss and the pass rush and everybody to take what happened in Athens just a week prior and to not let that happen again in basically the identical spot on the field on the road against a really good Oklahoma defense anyway.
Well, let's hold our judgment on the really good Oklahoma defense. I think your tweet last week might have been on the money about that particular group.
You're going to downplay Ole Miss's win?
No, I don't want to downplay Ole Miss's win
because
they are really good. They're just a good team. I don't care who they're playing. They're just a good team. I think Ole Miss is one of the best stories of the season to the unbiased observer, because this is a program that felt like they missed their window with the playoffs, and instead on a team where the expectations weren't super high, and then they lose a quarterback week 2, and all of a sudden they are maybe the only SEC team right this second. A&M could still not make it, right? I feel like Alabama could still not make it. Ole Miss is going to have to do something unusual to not make it. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that, to come back in that game, when Oklahoma got the lead, it would have been pretty easy for it to get away from Ole Miss in that situation. But instead, they put their head down and got to work. And that's a really good win in a hostile environment. And now Ole Miss has put themselves into a situation where they have to lose a game where they're a big favorite. They're a double-digit favorite this weekend. Mm-hmm. They will obviously be a massive favorite when they play the Citadel. We're not even going to talk about that. They'll be likely a double-digit favorite when they play Florida. Mississippi State, it depends on what happens with State between now and then, and it's in Starkville, but they're going to be favored in that game by a touchdown minimum. Could be a double-digit favorite by the time we get there, depending on how they play and how State plays. So Lane Kiffin's put himself in that program into they are in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
In the and for a team, they may not make the SEC championship game, but they will 100% be in the playoff unless they make two Huge mistakes.
Yeah. In 10-2, it could get dicey considering the volume of teams that could have a similar record. But, yeah, and now it's up to them to – because they passed that test this past week, right? You have a loss in a game that they felt like they should have won in Athens, so you're coming down from a loss. And then you got the stuff. Billy Napier gets fired, everybody talking about Florida and all that stuff. Kiffin addresses it with the team, and they play well. And now you've got yourself in a situation where you're going to get it from multiple angles. You've got the pressure of expectations, right? Now it's, boy, not making the playoff at this point would kind of be a failure. So you've got added pressure because of this win, and it's something that they've afforded to themselves by playing well, but now you've got that. Can you stay grounded and all that stuff and play well? Because if you do, you'll make the playoff. And now you've got more of this stuff. So this program this week is just going to get poked a lot. There's going to just be a lot of stuff. Oh, boy, playoff team. Ole Miss, Andy Staples said you can Sharpie Ole Miss into the playoffs, and you've got that kind of distraction and then all the other stuff that's going on. They passed that test last week with flying colors going into the Oklahoma game. Can they continue to do that? There's only one way to find out. Now, Trinidad Chambliss was 24 of 44 for 315 and a touchdown. Austin Simmons came in the game. He had a goal-to-go package that they used. He was 0 for 2, missed both of those throws. I don't understand it.
Why?
I don't like it. I never want to see it again.
I'll make sure we're on the same. Because I think I turned my head for a second, and I came back. I was like, Simmons is it? Did Chambliss get hurt? And then I realized he wasn't, and I was just wondering why.
The rationale apparently is they have some concepts that get guys open across the middle. That
a left-hander can get easier.
And he's a little bit taller. And Trinidad, a knock on Trinidad is he gets balls batted at the line of scrimmage a good bit.
I got you. I guess I get it.
But you also take his running threat off the field when you take him off the field. I don't like it.
No, I'm with you.
It's discombobulated. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, he did throw one on the money for a 2-point conversion. Caleb Odom just didn't catch it. But still, regardless, I don't like it. Keep your quarterback on the field. His legs and the way that you've called offense with him are such a weapon that taking him off the field just anyway. Kejuan Lacey ran for 78 yards on 27 carries with a pair of touchdowns as well. Trinidad added 53 rushing yards as well. Winston Watkins, the freshman, had 111 yards receiving on 4 catches. Trey Wallace had 64 on 5. Caden Lee 60 on 3. Stribling had a few as well. I think, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 different Ole Miss receivers caught passes, and that's what I like about what they're doing offensively is that right there. They spread the football around a lot with how they're calling it with Chambliss. John Mateer was 17 of 31 for 223 and a touchdown. Xavier Robinson had 109 yards rushing on 9 carries. Oklahoma had 136 on 28 carries. Now, it happened, and you can't take it away. It is part of the story. Oklahoma had a 65-yard touchdown run. Bad run fit from a safety, broke it open. If you take that away, which I know you can't because it did happen, Oklahoma only averaged 2 yards per carry. Mm-hmm. So Ole Miss much better defensively at stopping the run in this game with their front 6. You had a much better day from the defensive line and pass rush, in particular Prince Will Umanmielen. That was his best game by far in an Ole Miss uniform. He and Will Eccles in particular, they both split a tackle for loss for a safety. But Prince Will had Mateer running for his life basically all game. And so his stats say that he had 6 tackles and 1.5 sacks, but it felt like every Oklahoma possession he was beating a tackle and causing Mateer to have to flush. And there were multiple times where Mateer would have to step up in the pocket too soon, and there was another Ole Miss player there to clean it up. So a much better day from the Ole Miss defense, in particular the defensive line, to not only generate pass rush, but turn it into productive pass rush. We talked earlier in the season, they generate a lot of pressure, but don't do anything with it. They did something with it in this game. They turned pressures into sacks, broken plays, stuff like that, much more so than they have earlier this season.
They just played well, and there's just no getting around that fact. They went on the road, hostile environment, got control of the game early, when they did fall behind, they responded. It's everything you wanted to see from Ole Miss in one game. I mean, outside of winning 50-0, I don't know if you could have asked for a much better performance to come out, establish your control early, and then in a situation where you had to face some adversity, overcome it, and win the game. What more do you want? Oh, and you got some obligatory, trolling or whatever you want to call it from Lane Kiffin. Got a little bit of that too.
That was really funny post-game where he's like, this guy was telling me all game that we're not going to score on him, and now he's but yeah, and that is it's a significant win for a lot of reasons. One, you set yourself up to be in position to just take care of business to make the playoff. It is now completely in front of you. If you just play well and execute, you'll make the playoff. And also, as we talked about last week, at least when it comes to Florida, it changes things when it comes to Florida. And something that's not talked about enough.
Comes to Florida, yes.
When it comes to Florida.
Yeah. Let's make sure we could get that clear.
Now, we'll get to the Brian Kelly thing here in a little bit. But something that's not being talked about enough is the timeline we have here. So our audience understands that. But if you're going to try to hire a coach that makes the playoff, unless he leaves his playoff team, which just does not appear to be likely, the first playoff games, the first round of the college football playoff, is 17 days after National Signing Day.
Right.
The second round of the playoff, so the quarterfinals happen a day before the transfer portal opens. Mm-hmm. And if you make the semis, it's a week after the transfer portal opens. Mm-hmm. If you're wanting to hire a coach that is coaching a playoff team, if you want him badly, you might miss both signing day and the transfer portal window if you want to do it. Mm-hmm. That is a big risk that schools might not be willing to take.
You're going to have to make ridiculous offers to get him out of there before the playoffs start.
And even then...
And it's going to be tough. Yeah. It's going to be tough.